Tuesday, September 11th, 2001.
From NBC News, this is Today with Katie Couric and Matt Lauer. Live from Studio 1A in Rockefeller Plaza.
And good morning. Welcome to Today on a Tuesday morning. I'm Matt Lauer.
And I'm Katie Couric. What's that Dolly Parton song? Here we go again.
Well, now that Jeannie has hit below the belt this morning, we're going to have CNN's Gail O'Neill, former model. She's going to be reporting on the ins and outs of Fashion Week in the next hour.
We love fashion. We love serving you. CNN Live at Daybreak continues right now.
Around a perfect 10. Beautiful. And it gets even cooler as we look at Friday, Saturday, and into Sunday. And well, that's with sunshine, too. So my day is done.
Okay.
All right. Tom, thanks for coming in.
Thank you.
Welcome to BBC World News.
Здравствуйте, на канале НТВ. Новости в студии Ольга Белова.
Bueno, en un momentito le tendremos toda la información. Por lo pronto le comentamos que si usted pensaba que hacer ejercicio es aburrido, este gimnasio ofrece algo distinto. Tome nota.
We want to tell you what we know as we know it. We just got a report in that there's been some sort of explosion at the World Trade Center in New York City. One report said, and we can't confirm any of this, that a plane may have hit one of the two towers of the World Trade Center. But again, you're seeing the live pictures here. We have no further details than that. We don't know.
As we come on air, we have serious news of a major possible air crash in the United States. A plane appears to have crashed into one of New York's tallest buildings, the World Trade Center. As you can see, those are pictures of smoke pouring out of a gaping hole in the upper floors of the World Trade Center.
I have got to interrupt you right now.
Sorry.
Richard Hack, thank you very much. We appreciate the book is called Hughes. We want to go live right now and show you a picture of the World Trade Center where I understand, do we have it? No, we do not. We have a breaking story, though. We're going to come back with that in just a moment. First, this is Today on NBC.
As Matt just mentioned, we have a breaking news story to tell you about. Apparently, a plane has just crashed into the World Trade Center here in New York City. It happened just a few moments ago, apparently. We have very little information available at this point in time. But on the phone, we do have Jennifer Oberstein.
To consolidate your credit card or other debts, just log on.
Number 2.
Yeah. This just in, you are looking at obviously a very disturbing live shot there. That is the World Trade Center, and we have unconfirmed reports this morning that a plane has crashed into one of the towers of the World Trade Center. The CNN Center right now is just beginning to work on this story, obviously calling our source.
Welcome back to the program. We've got some breaking news to tell you about something we're just learning about ourselves here. Apparently, a small passenger plane has crashed into one of the World Trade Towers. This, of course, in Manhattan, New York City. These are live shots we are just getting right now from some American networks sending these up. I was just listening to an interview which was being done by an eyewitness. I'm going strict.
It's 8:52 here in New York. I'm Bryant Gumbel. We understand that there has been a plane crash on the southern tip of Manhattan. You're looking at the World Trade Center. We understand that a plane has crashed into the World Trade Center. We don't know anything more than that. We don't know if it was a commercial aircraft.
Fox 5 News. And we do have some breaking news that we want to bring you around, and we're going to go to a picture, a live picture from New York City. Apparently, a plane has crashed into the World Trade Center in New York. 8:52. We have limited information at this point. We don't know about injuries in the building or people on the ground, but obviously this has potential for being a major disaster here. Look at that.
Now, remember, there's two World Trade Centers. What we're seeing...
No word yet on what type of a plane. We've been hearing from witnesses that it might have been a twin-engine plane or even possibly a 737 commercial jet. As you can see, the smoke billowing out of that building. Witnesses say they heard a huge explosion. That plane, in fact, may still be embedded in that building. Still no word on whether people are inside that building. It, of course, is 9 o'clock.
Você está vendo aí agora imagens ao vivo de Nova York das chamadas Torres Gêmeas do World Trade Center, no sul da ilha de Manhattan. A informação é de que um jato comercial, não se sabe ainda se de passageiros ou de carga, se chocou com as torres.
煙に包まれている映像を伝えております。ニューヨークから中島記者がお伝えします。この映像です。中島さん。
はい。現在私、貿易センタービルから1キロほど北にあります国連本部の32階に来ています。
Descending on this area, it does not appear that there's any kind of an effort up there yet. Now remember, oh my God.
Oh my God. That looks like a second plane.
I did not see a plane go in. That just exploded.
We just saw another plane coming in from the side.
This kind of thing in this neighborhood.
Elliot, have you, of course, because of the incident that occurred in the early 1990s, have you seen any evidence, Elliot, of people being taken out of the building? You say that emergency vehicles are there, understandably so, but of course the major concern is human loss. I mean, do you know if there were many people in the building?
Oh, another one just hit. Something else just hit. A very large plane just flew directly over my building, and there's been another collision. Can you see it? I can see it on this shot.
Oh my!
Something else has
you know what?
And
we
that
just
looks
saw
more
a
like
plane
a
circling the
747.
building.
It is in the other building. Correct.
You're over in Chelsea. Did you hear the explosion from your position?
Yes, we did. As a matter of fact, we heard it, and because I was just like standing there, pretty much looking out the window, I didn't see what caused it or if there was an impact.
So you have no idea right now?
There's another one. Another plane just hit. Right. Oh my God! Another plane has just hit. It hit another building. Flew right into the middle of it. Explosion. My God! It's right in the middle of the building.
This one into the East Tower.
Yes.
I'd say the whole takes about, looks like 6, 7 floors were taken out. And there's more explosions right now. Hold on, people are running.
Hold on just a moment. We've got an explosion inside.
The building's exploding right now. You got people running up the street.
Okay.
Hold on, I'll tell you what's going on.
Okay, just put Winston on pause there for just a moment.
Okay, the whole building just exploded some more. The whole top part.
The accident is reported to have taken place at 9 a.m. local time. Joining us now on the phone from New York is Steve Evans, who was, I believe, in the building at the time. Steve, what can you tell us about what happened this morning?
People are running away very, very quickly. There are more explosions further down the building. It was calm until we came on the air now, but I'm now looking up at this building, and there is smoke billowing from the very top, but then there is a fire and an explosion about 20 stories further down. I was at the base.
Friedel in Hoboken said it appeared to bank sharply and smash directly, perhaps purposefully, into, oh my goodness,
oh God,
there's another one. Oh my goodness, there's another one.
This seems to be on purpose.
Oh my goodness, now it's obvious, I think, that there's a second plane just crashed into the World Trade Center. I think we have a terrorist act of proportions that we cannot begin to imagine at this juncture.
Oh my God.
My
性があります。このビルは観光客もよく訪れるところで、2棟あるうちの1棟は上が観光の展望台になっていまして、今こちらから今火が大きく見えました。赤くですね大きな火が出ました。で煙ますます濃くなっております。 で今言いましたように、ここは観光客もよく訪れるところで、
ground to the Pentagon, and these two planes that you can see behind us that hit the World Trade Center. That's Washington, the old executive office building, I believe, and you can see the plume of smoke behind it, which we will assume until we're told otherwise that that's the fire at the Pentagon. I believe that's correct. As you look now at Washington. So we've got a major fire at the Pentagon and the...
Pues que podríamos suponer solamente de las películas, de las historias de horror o de ciencia ficción.
Totalmente, ahí estamos viendo la ciencia ficción en vivo y a todo color.
Bueno, y...
Ok, gracias.
Ana, ¿sabes? También se dice que uno de los aviones que se estrelló o que fue estrellado es uno 767 con destino a Boston. ¿Puede ser, Arturo?
O World Trade Center está no sul da ilha tanto a comunicação como o transporte para lá está muito difícil. E mais uma informação sobre o Pentágono. Existe uma brigada nesse momento retirando as pessoas do prédio do Pentágono, né? Seria o órgão máximo de defesa americano, do maior exército do mundo. E a Casa Branca também está sendo...
The scene is still in some degree of chaos, but the police have set up a major mobilization point just outside the building, and they've set up a tactical mobilization point. The major mobilization point is for the responding units involved in the rescue. The tactical one is actually an armed mobilization point for security outside the World Trade Center now.
Thanks very much. Let's go to the White House. Claire Shipman is on the phone. Claire, what's that we're looking at?
Well, that's what we're trying to figure out right
now. A little bit more about how all of this unfolded and what the president is going to do next. The president declared this an apparent terrorist act. He offered a prayer for the families, promised to hunt down, in his words, the people responsible for this. He will now travel back to Washington, and aides are telling us now that he will immediately convene a national security meeting to see what steps are taken next.
David, I'm sorry to interrupt you, but we're looking at live pictures of the Pentagon where there is billowing smoke. Jim Miklashevsky just reported.
Eyewitness Ash Raven. Now we're going to cross to Washington. There are pictures there of a hotel behind the Pentagon. There are reports of a terrorist attack on the Pentagon as well. There certainly has been an explosion. You can see thick smoke coming out from behind the Pentagon. It's been evacuated and there are reports.
中継映像です。世界貿易センタービル、ツインタワーのビルが2つともそれぞれ航空機に突っ込まれて黒い煙を上げているところです。AP 通信によりますと、最初にビルに突っ込んだ飛行機はボストンを離陸後にハイジャックされた飛行機だということです。これはワシントンの今映像が入ってきました。
We do not know what's happening at the Pentagon, which brings us to what you were talking about, the Middle East and the Bush administration policies toward the Middle East. Okay, these are live pictures now of the Pentagon. You can see this thick black smoke. This is no trash fire, folks. So obviously something has happened at the Pentagon. This is a live picture of the Pentagon.
Or on the ground to the Pentagon, and these two planes that you can see behind us that hit the World Trade Center. That's Washington, the old executive office building, I believe, and you can see the plume of smoke behind it, which we will assume until we're told otherwise that that's the fire at the Pentagon. I believe that's correct. As you look now at Washington. So we've got a major fire at the Pentagon, and the Pentagon being evacuated, the White House being evacuated.
Пока не ясно. Еще раз напомню, что число жертв может оказаться неимоверным. Здание Всемирного торгового центра вмещает в себя 40 тысяч человек. Если также подтвердятся сообщения, что... И вот сейчас мы видим то, что происходит в районе Пентагона. Эвакуируется также Белый дом. Это последнее сообщение из Нью-Йорка. Все происходящее напоминает apocalipsis, непонятно.
37 de hasta 200 pasajeros y me puedo imaginar que ahorita deben de haber cancelado todos los vuelos porque quien debe de ser dueña del espacio aéreo americano debe ser la Fuerza Aérea.
La Fuerza Aérea, por supuesto, lo que decía. Todas las bases aéreas de los Estados Unidos deben estar en alerta máximo. Los aviones caza, los aviones bombarderos, los aviones de espía, los AWACS deben estar sobre.
Corridor where a lot of Army offices are located.
Wow.
And some people were.
Jamie, I need you to stop for a second. There has just been a huge explosion. We can see a billowing smoke rising And I'll tell you that I can't see that second tower, but there was a cascade of sparks and fire, and now it looks almost like a mushroom cloud explosion.
What's the latest information from the World Trade Center?
Well, the latest we have is that the whole area has been sealed off. The police and security personnel are down there trying to clear members of the public away. This was a very, very busy time of the morning in New York, just as everybody was going into their offices, so it couldn't really have come at a worse time. And I think
capital, the most powerful center in the world, has been immobilized as well as a result of these terrorist
attacks. And that's
attacks.
A very haunting description that Bob Kerr just gave of that low-flying aircraft near the White House, and one can only wonder if that was something that ultimately ended up in the Pentagon.
We just saw a live picture of what seemed to be a portion of the building falling away from the World Trade Center. If we can re-rack that to about 20 seconds ago, you'll see something dramatic happening, and I don't know whether it's another explosion or a portion of the building falling away, but something major just happened.
Has been here. They may think they prepare for this kind of thing, Pierre, but man, it must have been a shock.
Stunning shock. The FBI Special Operations Center is now in full alert. The FBI extremely concerned that there would be additional attacks. Normally when you have a situation like this, they immediately get on the line with the CIA, the various intelligence agencies, trying to get a sense of who might have been planning something. But right now, the first order of business is to protect against a second attack, third attack. The feeling is normally when you have this kind of situation, there will be more attacks almost immediately.
Let's go to the trade tower again, because, John, we now have what do we have? We don't...
Wow. It looks like a new plume, a new large plume of smoke.
Está parada, por exemplo, nós temos uma equipe que estava no aeroporto, como todos os aeroportos não conseguiu viajar e que está parado, o trânsito não anda para nenhum lugar. Então, os telefones estão sem funcionar, a internet não funciona, em vários lugares da cidade você não tem como se comunicar. Nós enviamos uma outra equipe para lá que não conseguimos comunicar com os celulares.
Só um instante, Simone, para dizer que todo o centro financeiro da ilha de Manhattan aí está coberto pela fumaça. A torre acaba de desabar. Desabou a torre, desabou uma das torres do World Trade Center.
Uma das torres acaba de desabar.
People here, we can't tell you how many. We've certainly seen Arlington Fire and Rescue crews, the paramedics working on somebody in front of us. We have not heard the number of people injured. This attack, as you can see, did not seem to really penetrate the building a great distance, even though there is a great amount of fire on this side of the Pentagon, which I believe is, as you can compare it to the World Trade Center, I think the Pentagon has always been called the largest office building in the world, so there certainly is a comparison there, besides its obviously strategic implications. Arlington Fire here...
Свое расследование уже начало ФБР, но пока никто не берется сказать, кто стоит за этим терактом. И ваши кадры. Мы в прямом эфире видим, как падает вторая башня. Такого центра больше нет.
Tell everybody, within the last 10 minutes or so, they started a second evacuation of the Pentagon area. We're told that there's another aircraft that's been hijacked, and it's 20 minutes outside Washington, D.C. Emergency vehicle crews with bullhorns have been coming through this area telling everybody to get back. Is that what your understanding is as well?
Exactly.
Okay, now what about employees? Have you guys been given any information about what you should do?
Just told us to go home.
This is shocking and devastating for everybody.
It is. I think it's time that the American public realize that...
Muy retirada de ambas calles.
Ya no sé lo que puede ser muy difícil a estas alturas después de lo que hemos visto, Nacho, y lo que sí podemos decir es que los mercados mundiales...
Se está cayendo la segunda torre gemela en estos momentos. En estos momentos se está colapsando la parte, el tercio último de la torre gemela norte del World Trade Center se está viniendo abajo en estos momentos. Esto es de verdad impresionante. La pesadilla no tiene comparación, no hay antecedentes a una situación como la que estamos viviendo en estos momentos en los Estados Unidos.
And this was the scene afterwards. The White House was evacuated too. Mike Wooldridge, BBC News.
So these are the pictures now. It's Nick Gowing replacing Nisha Pillay, and you can see still the plumes of smoke. We do have news that a car bomb has exploded outside the State Department. Most offices of state in Washington have now been evacuated. The Pentagon is now
specifically at the State Department after the explosion at the Pentagon. Again, we are looking at two pictures. The one on the left of your screen is the Pentagon, where a section of that building has collapsed, struck by an aircraft. This is New York City, where one of the Twin Towers collapsed after it was struck by aircraft, one of the 110-story towers.
Emilio Delano, he's a terrorism expert over at American University.
In U.S. history, but probably
certainly in modern times.
In modern times.
Yeah, and
unprecedented. And it's going to be.
And every time you say that, I'm going to go immediately to Washington now, but every time you say that, I keep thinking of how we are told time and time and time again by the Pentagon and by the State Department that they know something's going on in the world today.
They seem to have the problem at the North Tower, Peter.
Let's look at the North Tower quickly.
Seems to be coming down.
Oh my God.
The second tower.
It's hard to put it into words, and maybe one doesn't need to.
The minister that we are also here in Canada on alert for any possible attacks as well. Although it should be mentioned right now what has happened. 2 attacks there have been in Manhattan. One plane colliding with one twin tower. 18 minutes later, oh my God. Oh my God. If you can imagine the situation could get any worse, you've just seen it get worse. That was the second.
Pues que han tenido terribles consecuencias. Miren cómo se cae la parte superior de la Torre Gemela. Se está cayendo una parte importantísima de las Torres Gemelas.
Eso pasó
hace unos minutos. Parece realmente una no sé, lo único que se me ocurrir son las imágenes en Pearl Harbor, pero
in Washington there is a large fire at the Pentagon. The Pentagon has been evacuated. And there's, you can see, perhaps the second tower, or the front tower, the top portion of which is collapsing. Good Lord.
Crystal clear blue, and I can't see the speck of an airplane, but security forces here obviously alarmed enough not only to tell people to keep some distance from the building, but to take immediate cover.
Can you tell me a little bit more? Well, actually, let's look at these live pictures at the World Trade Center. The other tower of the World Trade Center has just collapsed. You are looking at live pictures of the second twin tower at the World Trade Center collapsing as a result.
Do World Trade Center, uma das torres gêmeas viria a desabar. Esse é o que restou. Essa é a torre que ainda permanece de pé. Olha, essa é a outra torre agora. É a outra torre que está caindo agora. Caiu a outra torre. A outra torre, a segunda torre está caindo. A exemplo da primeira. Imagens ao vivo de Nova York, está no chão o World Trade Center, um dos maiores símbolos do poder econômico dos Estados Unidos, no centro da ilha de Manhattan.